Hello and a very warm welcome to latest case analysis series by LawSikho. This is Monica Rahat, and for today's discussion, we have taken up a Supreme Court decision which is dated 14th of August 2020. The name of the case is Union of India and Another versus Messrs. K. C. Sharma and Company and others. It's a three-judge bench decision, and the bench consisted of Honorable Justice Ashok Bhushan, Justice R. Subhash Reddy, and Justice M. R. Shah. Now let's proceed and understand the issue of law. So the court was to decide whether the protection which is afforded under Section 53A of the Transfer of Property Act, it is available to a person who is put in possession of the property without having a lease deed executed or registered in his favor. Now, before I read the bare provision of the bare language contained in Section 53 of the Transfer of Property Act, I'd like to give you an example. And after listening to the example, the provisions of Section 53A will be clearer to understand. So, let's say there is a person A, so he wants to buy a property or the house of person B. A will be the transferee while B will be the transferor. So, now they enter into a contract to transfer the house from B to A, and B, meanwhile, they were entering into the contract. A tells B that he'll be in a position to make half of the property payment now, and the other half will be made in future. And B agrees to this term. They mention the same in the contract. The contract is written, it is signed by both the parties, and it unequivocally makes the terms of the contract certain. So even if you give a reading of the contract, you get to know of the certain terms on which the contract is based. Now, there in furtherance of such a contract, A, the transferee, he takes possession of the property or a part of it, and he also incurs certain expenses in doing certain maintenance work in the house. Thereafter, B, by any reason, be it in greed of money or anything else, he sells the house to someone else because the house is not yet registered in name of A, the transferee. So he sells the house to someone else, and this person to whom the house is so sold, he'll become a subsequent transferee. Now B comes to A and he tells A that since the house is not registered in your name, you do not have the title of it, so you vacate the premise. Now, can we do so? So the answer to this is given under Section 53A. So the issue of law is whether protection under Section 53A it is available to a person who is put in possession of the property like A was without having a lease deed executed or a registration made in his favor. Now let's read the provisions of Section 53A. So it provides for part performance where any person contracts to transfer for consideration any immovable property by writing signed by him or on his behalf, and from which that is to say from the contract the terms necessary to constitute the transfer can be ascertained with reasonable certainty, and the transferee has in part performance of the contract taken possession of the property or any part thereof, or the transferee being already in possession continues to be in possession in part performance of the contract, and he has done some act in furtherance of the contract, and the transferee has performed or is willing to perform his part of the contract. Then, notwithstanding where there is an instrument of transfer, that the transfer has not been completed in the manner prescribed thereof by the law for the time being in force, the transferor or any person claiming under him shall be barred from enforcing against the transferee and the persons claiming under him any right in respect of the property of which the transferee has taken or continued in possession other than a right expressly provided for by the terms of the contract. Now, there is also a proviso provided to the section which reads as follows: provided that nothing in this section shall affect the rights of a transferee for consideration who has no notice of the contract or of the part performance thereof. So, to break down this section, the following are the ingredients: that there has to be a contract of transfer of immovable property, and the contract is for valid consideration, and it has to be in written form, it has to be signed by the parties to it, and the contract should lay down the certainty the terms of contract and of such transfer, and in part performance of the contract, the transferee takes possession of the property or a part of it, or if he was already in possession, then he retains the possession. And in furtherance of such a contract, some act is also done in part performance of the contract. And also, the transferee is willing either to carry on the part performance of the contract, or he's already done the other half of the contract. And therefore, after all of these ingredients are met, then the transferor cannot ask the transferee to vacate such a premise. And also, this section provides certain protections to the subsequent transferee as well, and the provisos giving effect to the same. Now, having understood the provision of the terms and conditions which are laid down under section 53A, let's proceed with with the case at hand. So the brief facts of the matter are as follows. The government acquired land of Gaon Sabha Luhar Heri in Delhi under relevant provisions of the Land Acquisition Act 1894. Now here, Messrs. K.C. Sharma and Company and others who are the respondent in this particular matter, they claimed compensation from the government after the government acquired the land, and the compensation it was claimed on the following grounds: that the Gram Sabha or the Gaon Sabha, it leased the land to the respondents to remove Sora and make it cultivable. And hence, money was spent on such a land by the respondents, and the possession was acquired by the respondent, and they cultivated the land for 30 years in a row. Now, when the compensation was not given to the respondents, the respondents approached the civil court under section 30 and 31 of the Land Acquisition Act. So, the civil court, pursuant to such a suit, held that respondents or the claimant and the Gaon Sabha are to be compensated to the extent of 87% and 13% respectively. So the civil court ruled in favor of the respondent herein, and the civil court held that the respondents or the claimant in the original suit, they are to be compensated to the tune of 87%, while the Gaon Sabha is to be, the members of the Gaon Sabha, they are to be compensated to the tune of 13%. Now, aggrieved by this, a writ petition was filed in the Delhi High Court by some villagers alleging that the respondents were not the lessees and that the respondents claimed compensation in collusion with ex-Pradhan of the Gaon Sabha. So the Delhi High Court, after giving a bare reading of the entire matter or discussing it, the Delhi High Court permitted additional district magistrate to intervene in the pending proceedings, and liberty was given to the original lessee's legal heir to contend existence of lease and also to claim compensation. Now, consequently, the Gaon Sabha filed for its impleadment under Order 1, Rule 10 of the CPC in this proceeding or in this matter, resulting in the finding that the civil court held that Panchayat was entitled only to seek enhancement of compensation to the extent of their 13% share. Now, pursuant to the Delhi High Court observation, which was made in point fifth, which were that the additional district magistrate was given the power or was given to empower, was directed to intervene in the proceeding which were pending, and also the legal heirs of the original lessees, they were given the liberty to contend the existence of the lease and claim compensation. So, pursuant to this observation of the Delhi High Court, the appellant approached the High Court. Now, and the appellant approached the High Court seeking declaration that the decree of the civil court, it was obtained by fraud with collusion with the ex-Pradhan, but for want of pecuniary jurisdiction, the matter went to the additional district judge where the suit was decreed. Thus, aggrieved by it, the respondents or the defendants, they preferred first appeal before the Delhi High Court. The High Court set aside the trial court's judgment and decree, and the High Court held that the appellant herein, which is the Union of India, it failed to show how fraud was committed upon the civil court, and secondly, that the contentions regarding the lease being given by collusion with ex Pradhan alone. It is not made out because. So, here I'd like to explain it simply. So, one of the contentions of the respondents herein, which is the company and others, so they contended that the entire process of giving lease or and the subsequent possession of the land to the respondent was very transparent, right from the proposal for giving the land on lease and the subsequent auction in pursuance of such a proposal. So it was all transparent. So initially there was a proposal made which stated that the Gaon Sabha was willing to lease out the land for in order to make it cultivable. And subsequently an auction was held. In that auction, the highest bid was made by the respondent, and the auctioneer they also accepted the highest bid made by the respondent, and therefore possession of the land was given to the respondent. And all of this, it was signed and approved by the deputy director of the Gram Sabha in presence of all the members of the Gram Sabha. So the Gram Sabha cannot contend or advance such an argument that it was obtained by fraud in collusion with the ex-pradhan of the Gram Sabha, when all of these members were in fact witness to the transparent leasing out of the land to the respondent. And hence, aggrieved by this decision of the High Court, the Union of India and another person, they have filed the appeal before the Supreme Court. Now, before we proceed with the reasoning and decision of the Supreme Court, let's have an understanding of cases of the parties. So, first, let's take up the case of the appellant. So, appellant contended that the civil court decision, it was obtained by fraud, and it is a nullity, and it is vitiated because the suit rightly decreed by the trial court, there was no lease in fact, and the same was created by creating resolution in collusion with the ex pradhan of the panchayat. And second being that the respondents are not entitled to compensation to the tune of 87%, and that there was no lease deed executed between the respondent and the appellant of the Gaon Sabha, because the Gaon Sabha gave a mere license to remove the sora and make the land cultivable. It did not lease the land in favor of the respondent. While on the other hand, the respondent state contended that the decision on lease taken by all members of the Gaon Sabha, and it was signed by the deputy director. And all the evidence of auction, the subsequent possession, it is made available on record. And thirdly, it was contended that the respondents are entitled to the benefit of Section 53A of the Transfer of Property Act 1882 in absence of execution or registration of a lease deed. Fourthly, it was contended that fraud has to be established with sufficient evidence, because here it was contended that the lease deed, if at all, it was just a license which was obtained by collusion with the ex pradhan. And then at last it was contended that the trial court did not properly appreciate evidence, hence the High Court rightly set aside the decree and judgment of the trial court. Now let's proceed and understand the reasoning and decision of the court. So the court noted that with respect to the question of fraud, that it was not concerned with the correctness of the judgment and decree of the civil court, which became final with no appeals against it. A separate suit was filed on the ground that the said judgment and decree was obtained by fraud. So the court held it is fairly well settled that fraud has to be pleaded and proved with evidence in light of the documentary evidence of the proposal for giving the land on lease, the subsequent auction, the acceptance of the highest bid, and then the subsequent transfer of the possession. And it was signed by the deputy director of the Gram Sabha. So all these documentary evidence, in absence of and also in absence of any necessary pleadings giving the particulars of fraud, it cannot be said that the lease was obtained by the respondents in collusion with the ex pradhan. And thirdly, with respect to the question of law, the court noted that or gave the following finding that the defense available under Section 53A of the Transfer of Property Act 1882, it is available to a person who has agreement of lease in his favor, though no lease has been executed and registered. It protects the possession of the persons who have acted on a contract of sale deed, sale execution, or registration of valid sales deed. The respondents were put in possession and the panchayat has acted upon their proposal for grant of the lease. Hence, this legal proposition is applicable here. Thus, allowing the appeals, thus the appeals were dismissed and they were not allowed by the court. So, let's come back to the issue of law and understand what is the decision of the court. So, with respect to the issue of law, that whether the protection under Section 53A of the TOPA, that is the Transfer of Property Act, it is available to a person who is put in possession of the property without having the registration in his favor. So, the answer to this is yes. That is to say, a person is in fact entitled to protections which is given under this section of the Transfer of Property Act, even if the registration is not made in his favor, but the other requirements of this section, which we've already discussed, they are met with. So that's all we have with respect to the case analysis. And at the end of this note, there is a list of abbreviations which we've used in the note. You may refer to them for a clearer understanding. And if you have any questions, kindly feel free to mention the same in the comment section. Thank you for being with us.